What up YouTube, this is Jabber Tech and it's about that time, and that time is the Galaxy S9 Plus review. So I've been using this phone for about 2 months now, and I did have the Note 8 prior to this device. So I'll go over what my thoughts are comparing the Note 8 to this phone. So should you upgrade to the S9 Plus? Do you have an older S8? Do you want to upgrade to this? Do you have an older device period? And are you thinking about this device? Is it on your radar? So let's get into the Galaxy S9 Plus review. So for those of you that don't know the specs, these are the specs right here. Take a minute to take a look at them. One thing I do have to mention that the Snapdragon 845 coupled with the 6 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm sure Samsung did some tweaking under the hood, possibly make this the fastest Samsung phone I have ever used. And that's a bold statement. Is it as fast as the Pixel phones? Definitely not. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. But in terms of Samsung, in terms of LG, this is definitely the fastest phone that I've used with these heavy skins on top. Before we get into the nitty gritty of this review, I just want to mention that this is a really nice looking phone. Samsung really has started making some beautiful devices, starting with the S6, and this is no exception. It's a really well-designed phone with the glass and metal. And the color options, I really enjoy the colors. And I do have the blue one, which I also recommend. But the overall feel of this phone in the hand is super premium. And this phone definitely has a little more weight to it than the Note 8. I know heft does not mean premium, but having a little extra weight to me feels really nice. I feel that I can handle this phone a little bit better than if it was just a light piece of technology that I wouldn't know if it was in my hand or not. So I do appreciate the extra heft, and I definitely appreciate this headphone jack. Now, do I use it on a daily basis? That I do not. I am a Bluetooth user, but the times that I have not taken my Bluetooth headphones with me, I really enjoyed having this headphone jack, not to mention the times when my Bluetooth headphones crapped out, lost battery. All I had to do was use it in passive mode and plug in that 3.5mm headphone jack and call it a day. So thankfully the headphone jack is still here, definitely well appreciated. Hopefully it comes back on other devices. I think that was just a dumb move in my opinion. Continuing with the design, they also made some improvements to this curve. It's just less noticeable from the Note 8 and from the Galaxy S8. It's just ever so slightly curved, so Samsung definitely is improving on their curved screen technology. The palm rejection software on this phone is definitely well improved as well. I haven't had any issues with it holding the phone and the phone not being able to respond to touches because it thinks that I'm using the edge screen. The palm rejection software definitely is on point with this. I just touched on this a few seconds ago, but this phone is super snappy. There hasn't been any lag with this phone whatsoever, and even that slight lag that you got swiping over to the Bixby home section is definitely gone. It's super fast. There's no problems with it. Now, do I still use Bixby? Not really, very rarely. Speaking of Bixby, we do still have that Bixby hardware key. Not a big deal. Just disable it and you're good to go. But it is good to know that Bixby's there on command when I need it to be. But there has been no lag with this phone whatsoever. It's been really fast. No issues with this at all. If you notice my other reviews, I quickly throw on the Nova launcher and change up the themes. But with this phone, I really have not had any issues with the Samsung launcher, so I haven't felt the need to do it. One thing I'm hoping Samsung will let us do is just to install custom icon packs from the Play Store. That would be really awesome of them. This way we could keep the Samsung launcher, but change up the look a little bit. But the icons are not bad at all. There's no issues with the icons. I kind of like the way the skin looks. Samsung has the best screens on the market, hands down. There's no denying that, and this is no exception. This is the best screen that Samsung has ever made. 6.2 inches of pure goodness, and I am running it at 1080p most of the time. I really haven't felt the need to push it to its limits, but even at 1080p, this is one of the crispest and brightest screens that I've seen. No issues with this screen at all. So speaking of battery life, I get through a full day without any problems, and most of the time I get into the next morning with this phone. I have used this at 4K, and with 4K enabled, I did get through the entire day without any problems, and I still had some juice left. I'd say about 20% juice left. So at 1080p, you're saving just a little bit, but sometimes that is worth it to save that little bit extra juice. But of course, Samsung has this great feature built into all their phones, and they have for a while, and that's the power saving mode, which I have used on a few occasions where I've just been out, forgot my charger, and been using the phone like a mad person. It is good to know that you can change this and put it into power saving modes. Definitely one of the best features. And you see here, if I change this to power saving mode, I have 81% left right now. So it's saying I'll get about 29 hours of usage. If I switch it to mid power saving mode, I'll get 35 hours. And then max, I'll get 102 hours. And that basically turns the smartphone into a dumb phone. You really don't have many options other than texting and calling. But that's what you need when you have no juice, you have no charger, you're out and about and you need to stay in contact for safety reasons, security reasons, or even just to stay in contact with your friends. So well done on Samsung for doing this. I really like that. So battery is not a problem. Now my Note 8 made it through most of the day as well, so that's not really an issue, but this one pushes it just a little bit further, and that 3500 milliamp battery definitely helps with this, as well as the more power efficient 845 processor. So with battery life, you're definitely not going to have any problems with this. And of course, if you do run out of juice, you do have the fast wireless charging, which Samsung is really the only one in the game right now that's offering fast wireless charging. And then you do have the quick charge on the bottom with USB-C, so no problems charging this up. Charging this just for about half an hour will get you through that extra half day without any issues at all. Next, let's talk about speakers. One of the main reasons that this phone attracted me to it was finally Samsung included stereo speakers, and I'm really happy they did. Now these do not get as loud as my iPhone 8, but that's okay. They still get pretty loud and they still sound really nice. So let me just play you a little sample really quickly so you can see what the speakers sound like. The speakers make multimedia really enjoyable, whether you're just watching YouTube, listening to a music video, listening to music in general, watching that movie. Just makes everything more enjoyable having that little front firing speaker point at you. Really nice. I'm glad Samsung finally did that. Let's talk about this fingerprint scanner next. Now, it is definitely better than the Note 8, but I do have large fingers, so the Note 8 fingerprint scanner did not bother me at all. I was able to reach that without any problem. This one is definitely lower, a little bit more accessible. I do wish Samsung either would have made this fingerprint more round so that the surface area would have been easier to find, or just bumped it down a little bit. Now again, I know that would ruin their symmetry look, but trust me when I say if you do use this phone without a case, you will smudge up your camera lens. So put a case on it, or if you don't, just keep a little cloth handy so you can wipe that off. Maybe in the next iteration they will lower it. Other than the fingerprint scanner, this phone does have intelligent scan, and what that does is it combines iris scanning with face recognition into one, and supposedly helps it make it be a little bit faster. My experience with intelligent scan is that it works really well in daylight, not so well during the night, and not so well if you are wearing glasses, but it does work in daylight pretty well, except at night. At night, intelligent scan does not work well at all. It takes really long to the point where it's just easier and faster to use that fingerprint scanner. I would say with glasses on, that definitely throws everything off at night. So I would say use it during the day like I do, but at night, revert to that fingerprint scanner and you'll be just fine. But I am glad that it's here because, as I mentioned, I do use it most of the time during the day. Let's just hit on connection and call quality really quickly. Call quality has been excellent, as you'd expect from a flagship these days, but connectivity is where this phone really shines, and this is definitely one of the fastest phones I've ever used connected to T-Mobile's network. It's because of that 4x4 MIMO and also the carrier aggregation that's going on in this phone. So definitely super fast. I have not had any issues. And again, I'm using the unlocked version, so I don't even have a carrier branded phone, but everything works super smooth. No issues with this at all. I definitely noticed a big difference when compared to the Note 8. So they definitely improved it. Well done on Samsung and well done on putting in all the proper chips. So the main reason why you want to pick up this phone is the camera. And coming from the Note 8, I definitely noticed a huge improvement in this camera. And when I heard the keynote from Samsung, I thought they were just blowing smoke up our faces. But this camera is definitely one of the best cameras that I've used. And again, I do not think you will be able to get a bad shot with this. Every time I take a photo, everybody is just really amazed with the quality of this, no matter if it's daytime, nighttime, food shots, live focus. whatever it is, these cameras will not disappoint you one bit, and I can guarantee you that 100%. But if you do mess up, that's on you, don't call me. And of course, there's so many different camera modes here. You have auto, you have that light focus I just mentioned. Of course, if you're a professional and you want to use pro mode, you have all the settings that you could use here. The food setting actually looks really good. Super slow-mo is kind of hit or miss, I'll be honest with you guys, and I'm going to show you some samples in a minute towards the end of this video, but super slow-mo I definitely am not really that impressed with, but it is there and it is fun to play with once in a while. The AR emojis, definitely no, I think that's a pass. Not really a fan of this. I'm not feeling these AR emojis at all. I don't think this looks like me one bit. Neither does anyone else that knows me that I've showed these to. Most of the time when I've sent these to somebody, they'd say, who the hell's that? But you know, it is there. It's a gimmick, and I'm not really going to go too much into it just because I don't use these at all. I haven't even used these past the first day that I got this phone, so I'm not even going to talk about this. If this is something that you're interested in, then it'll probably work good for you. Sorry, Samsung, kiss this feature goodbye. I'm not going to be using this, nor have I used it past the first day. Front-facing camera, for those of you that love selfies, is definitely a little improved. It's still not the best, but it's not that bad either. So for most of you, probably like me, you use these main sensors all the time, and for that, this camera is awesome. So enough talk about the camera. Let me show you some camera shots as we end this video, and let me know what you think about this phone if you have any questions about this phone, but it's definitely something that I highly recommend. And to answer the question I posed in the beginning of this video, should you upgrade from the Note 8? If you love that S Pen, then the answer is no. Just wait another 2 months or so and you should get that new Note 9. But if you're like me and you never really use that S Pen, only once in a while to create some GIFs here and there, this is definitely worth ditching the S Pen, and the improvements make it a lot better in my opinion. But either way, thanks for watching this video, guys. I really appreciate it, and I hope I touched on everything that you wanted to know. But if I haven't touched on something that you're interested in knowing about this phone, leave it in the comments down below and I definitely will answer. But as we end this video, take a look at all these shots, and they have been unedited, direct from the phone to the computer to the YouTubes. So take a look at them, and I hope you liked this video, guys. Thumbs up, subscribe if you did, and I'll catch you in the next one.